Does your hair often look like this when shampooing or like this when styling? I'm going to share with you the common causes of webbed frizz, including both wet frizz and dry frizz, and how to reduce it. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Gina, and here I make videos all about naturally curly hair. I love talking about the science of hair and really helping you guys problem solve so that way everyone can achieve healthier curls. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. The number one cause of webbing when you're washing your hair is tangles. When you wash your hair, it's likely tangled from the past few wash days, and all the hairs that you shed throughout the week are trapped in there. So when the hair gets wet, it swells, which pushes the cuticle layer out, making it even more rigid, and the tangles then get worse. So the solution for this is to dry detangle with some oil first, or even a conditioner first if you want. Ever since I started detangling with oil first, I cannot fathom going straight into shampoo on tangly hair. Scrubbing your scalp with shampoo just makes the tangles worse. Additionally, our hair is the weakest when it's wet, so dry detangling with some oil can really reduce the breakage and get rid of all those hairs that you've shed, making it easier to get down to your roots when you're shampooing. The oil will also help to protect the hair from breakage, dryness, and protein loss during shampooing. I'm using the Curlsmith Shine Oil because it's fast absorbing. Ideally, you want to let this sit for a bit or even overnight, but wait at least 5 minutes or so and don't use too much either because you don't want it to be hard to shampoo out. If you don't want to do this dry, or if you have a very tight curl pattern, or maybe you have a very strong hold gel in your hair and you just can't get through your hair while it's dry, then you can detangle while it's wet. You can do this with any conditioner or deep conditioner. That's definitely better than nothing, and sometimes I do that method as well. The next cause of webbing is buildup, which can make the hair feel sticky, gummy, and prevent products from absorbing properly. Even if you use silicone-free products, curly hair products contain a lot of conditioning ingredients and oils that can build up over time if you're not washing properly. This is why I recommend using shampoos that lather instead of co-washes because they don't cleanse very well. You also may have hard water in your home, which leads to buildup of minerals like calcium on your hair. I recommend clarifying at least once a month, so today I'm using the Ouidad Waterworks shampoo in place of my regular shampoo. This not only removes product buildup, but it can also remove hard water minerals. Most regular shampoos or even clarifying shampoos can't remove hard water minerals. They need to include a special chelating ingredient, such as disodium EDTA, for example. You may need to shampoo your hair twice to fully get it clean. Focus on your roots, but make sure you bring that lather down the shaft of the hair to get it clean too. I also wanted to share an option with you that you can use on non-clarifying wash days that really have helped me with tangles and webbed frizz. So the Ouidad Unbreakable Bonds shampoo and conditioner are very gentle, and they're actually formulated to help smooth the cuticle and soften the hair. They help to rebalance the pH of your hair, which can then help with frizz and webbing. So I wanted to also give you another option if you don't need to clarify right now, but still want something that's really going to help with webbing. So after I rinse out my shampoo, you can see that my hair does have some tangles in it and has some webbed frizz again. You likely will also shed from scrubbing your scalp, which can appear as webbed frizz because, like I mentioned before, those hairs are stuck within the hair. It's also normal because shampoo raises the pH to effectively cleanse the hair. A good shampoo shouldn't be too stripping, but it will leave your hair feeling dry, especially if you have not deep conditioned for a while. So this is why you cannot skip conditioner or deep conditioner, especially after you clarify. Conditioner works to lower the pH and coat the cuticle so your hair is more manageable and soft. I'm using this Eva NYC mask, which is highly moisturizing, and it contains strengthening ingredients to help with damage. It's normal to have to detangle after shampooing. I'm just being very gentle, and I'm using my hands to work through any knots from the bottom first and then work my way to the top. You can also comb your conditioner through to make sure it's evenly coated because we don't want to miss any strands with getting coated with conditioner. So this brings us to cause number 3, which is moisture overload. Even though our hair needs conditioning, you can overdo it. If your hair ever has felt gummy when it's wet, mushy, has lost its bounce, and just stretched too much, then it could be over moisturized. This happens when people are using very heavy curl creams and leave-ins and then only co-washing and deep conditioning too frequently. They may also be styling their hair soaking wet or leaving it wet for long periods of time while their hair air dries. So to fix it, you just need to clarify and then lay off on some of these super conditioning products. Opt for a deep conditioner with some protein to help restore elasticity. The Eva NYC mask has protein ingredients which will help to spring your curls up and prevent damage. After I finish rinsing out the conditioner, it looks so much better, but I do still have some wet frizz. This is very normal and it's tough to completely eliminate it. Usually this is caused by shorter hairs that are not grouping into curl clumps. You can see that I have a lot of shorter hairs throughout from new growth, breakage, or simply having layers cut in your hair can cause this too. Coarser hair types are also more likely to see wet frizz because the strands don't really want to lay very smoothly together, and this is totally fine and can be fixed with styling. We're not just going to leave our hair like this. Now it's time to style, and our next common cause of webbing could be that your hair is too dry when you're putting in your styling products. Your hair should be evenly wet and not have areas that are starting to dry and look frizzy. Curly hair products go on best on hair that is very wet. So I prefer to towel dry my roots first and then mist the links of my hair with water so that it's not stringy and frizzy, but I also don't like to leave it soaking, dripping wet. Depending on your hair type, you may prefer more or less water. You really do have to experiment with this, and mine usually falls somewhere in between damp and wet. Now, our hair should already be detangled, but if you're someone who has very thick hair or damaged hair that's prone to a lot of frizz, you might still have some webbed frizz going on when you're styling that will show up after your hair is dried. This is why we can't just rinse out our conditioner and then scrunch in some product as is like I'm showing here. This will result in lots of frizz within the inner layers because you're only really getting the outer layer coated with product. The inside is left messy, tangled, and it will just dry very stringy and frizzy. So going back to the better option for styling your hair, you want to use plenty of water, comb through your hair, and then apply your styling products in sections. I like to apply my curl cream first to help detangle so that I can more easily section off my hair. I'm using the Bounce Curl, Clump, and Define Cream, which provides a nice moisturized base that's not too heavy. Then you want to section off your hair and smooth in your gel. I'm using the Ouidad Advanced Climate Control Stronger Hold Gel. This is one of my all-time favorite gels because it provides a strong yet flexible hold. Your hair will still feel soft after it's dried, but yet you won't have any frizz, and my curls last for days. I usually apply my products before I style, so that way they're applied more thoroughly. I'm raking in my gel from root to tip and making sure that I use enough product to fully saturate my hair with gel because this is what is going to give our hair hold and prevent frizz from forming. Then I use a brush to smooth everything out. This will prevent frizz and tangles within the inner layers of the hair. Make sure you're using a brush that will not cause breakage and that you have plenty of slip in your hair from your products. I'm using a wet brush, which is technically a detangling brush. It works great at detangling the hair, but I've been trying to use this a little bit more for styling because it's the most gentle brush that I have. It doesn't really give too much tension, just enough to kind of smooth out the frizz and prevent tangles and just kind of help the curls start to clump together, but it's not going to give you as much tension as some of the other styling brushes that I use. So it's a great option if you do have fragile hair or if you really want to prevent damage to the hair's cuticle from brush styling. You don't have to brush style by any means. You can use your hands to do styling techniques such as the rake and shake method, which is just where you rake in your products with your hands and kind of use your fingers to clump the curls. And you can also do finger coiling techniques and other things without a brush, or just do the praying hands method, which is just where you sort of smush the curls between your hands, and this is going to help clump it together. If you don't do any styling technique, then you might end up with a lot of stringiness. You might end up with some wet frizz that does show up once your hair is dried. So I do recommend doing some styling to your hair. If you just put in a little bit extra effort on wash day, your curls are going to last so much longer and you'll have much easier refreshes on next day hair. I'm also doing a bit of micro plopping, which is just where you take your cotton hair towel and scrunch your hair to absorb the excess water. This is a great way to speed up your dry time and help encourage that shrinkage. I just wanted to show you a quick comparison between my hair when I don't do any styling and I just scrunch in some product on the outer layers of my hair and go, versus when I do section and do brush styling on wet hair. You can see the difference that it makes. The hair will dry so much more defined. You'll have more clumps. It won't be stringy and frizzy. So styling makes such a difference. After styling, it's time to diffuse. So diffusing shouldn't be causing you any webbed frizz or tangles as long as you're doing it properly. I usually like to first hover just by sort of cupping my hair, or I will plop it over a countertop or use my towel just to kind of hold it up. And this just helps prevent frizz because it's going to set your gel cast in that scrunched position without even having to touch the hair, because once you start touching the hair, if your hair is super wet, it can start to cause some frizz. So I do this first to kind of set the gel cast to prevent frizz, and then I will go in and actually cup diffuse or scrunch diffuse, whatever you want to call it, which is basically just where you're plopping your hair into the diffuser bowl and pressing it up towards your scalp. This is really going to create more volume, more shrinkage, and really help define your curls. So I have a video that you can watch all about the different mistakes that you might be making when you're diffusing that are leading to frizz. So I will link that for you down below if you want to watch that after this, if you need more tips for diffusing. So diffusing should not be causing frizz if you're doing it properly. We've already taken all the steps during styling and washing to prevent frizz and webbed frizz. So diffusing, it should actually help you prevent frizz because it's setting that gel cast into place versus air drying. You're walking around for hours with your hair moving around, things touching your hair, and there's friction, which definitely causes frizz. So after my hair is dried, I like to flip upside down and fluff out the roots and scrunch out the cast. This is going to help your hair look a little bit softer, fuller. You can leave that gel cast in if you're going to be out in humidity, rain, or wind, and if you just want your curls to last longer. But if you want a softer look, you can scrunch it out. You can separate any thick, chunky curl clumps just to get more volume and just fluff out the roots. You want to make sure you are doing this with dry hands or a little bit of oil on your hands. Make sure your hands are not wet because that's just going to cause frizz if your hands are sticking to your hair. You also want to make sure that your hair is completely dried when you're doing this. If you still have any dampness within the inner layers of your hair, it is going to cause frizz if you go ahead and scrunch out the crunch. So these are my final results. You can see the curls are very defined. They stick together a little bit, which is totally normal for naturally curly hair. It's not going to be completely frizz free. You're going to have a little bit of webbing if you do start to pull apart your curls after they are styled. So that's totally normal, but these are definitely much more defined and it looks so much better than before I was styling. I really like this product combination as well. It's a great option for year-round, but especially once it starts to get colder, this curl cream and all that I use is going to help provide moisture, and the gel is going to provide so much hold and longevity. I'm so happy with the way my curls turned out. This is one of my favorite product combos, especially for the colder, rainier days like today. It's super rainy outside and cold, so I still need that humidity protection, but I also need quite a bit of moisture. So this is a great combination. If you're interested in any of those products that I recommended, I will have them all linked down below. And I just wanted to remind you guys that webbed frizz is very common and very normal. It's just the nature of naturally curly hair. It makes a lot of bends and turns because it doesn't lay flat and smooth like someone with straight hair. So it's totally normal. You can't totally eliminate it. And in fact, it actually gives you some volume. If you had no frizz or webbing at all, then you couldn't get that lift when you fluff and scrunch your roots like that. Like, it actually helps it stay because I am disrupting the curl pattern there. So I'm creating a little bit of that lift. So if I had zero frizz within the inner layers of my hair, then it definitely would be very flat. So I just wanted to let you guys know that, but hopefully if you are really struggling with that webbed frizz on areas where you don't want it or you don't like the way that your hair looks, hopefully these tips help you out. I'm also going to summarize all of this on the blog post that goes with this video, so you don't have to worry about taking notes or anything like that. So if you want to refer to that blog post next time you go and wash your hair, you can sort of use it as a step-by-step guide. That will be linked in the description box down below, along with all of the products that I used here today. And if you're still needing more help with tangles and webbed frizz, maybe on refresh days, so if you wake up and you notice a lot of webbed frizz, then I recommend checking out the video that I have linked right here on the screen. It's all about how to deal with tangles when you're refreshing. So if you wake up and your hair is super tangled and all that webbed frizz has come back, here's how you can deal with it when you are refreshing. I hope it helps you out, and I will talk to you over there. Bye everyone.